They're going to take.
All right, everybody. Tonight's Town of Oregon Board meeting will come to order. And therefore, just do the roll call for minutes.
Sure, Paul Walzer.
Here.
Lori Fitzgerald. Here. And Steve Jernigan.
Here.
And Tim LeBrun.
Here.
And Arlen Hires.
So do a quorum and any majority vote would require three. What I'd like to do is a couple agenda adjustments. We're going to take item number 6, and that's the Parks and Open Space Plan discussion and additional discussion, and move that. We're going to postpone that until December. We've got some loose ends still on
Till February.
what did I say? Going back in time?
Yeah.
Well, okay, now I'm gonna go forward in time, so to February. And Arlen's been on vacation. I think he's still on vacation for another week and a half or so, and he and Dave Franks have not connected on whatever possible additional sites there may be. As far as the resolution related to that, we're still working on that. So nothing to discuss tonight. What I'd also like to do is take the Plan Commission item 8A and move that to now. Because I think we have some people interested in that one in the audience. And this is a recommendation from the Plan Commission to approve a petition presented by Tim and Diane Hack. And you'll find that, I think it's starting on page 31.
I don't know why my packet would not number, even Stephanie tried and.
It was a corrupt file, so we couldn't get the packet to number, to have page number.
Well,
okay. That was a great start to January of 2025. So we are sorry about that.
So somewhere in there
Yeah.
is where their stuff starts.
So we're gonna have, it's after the torque memorandum.
It's pretty close. Like this.
Yeah, it's just right at the beginning.
Page 31.
It's not that deep.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that deep.
so
It's past that though. About,
Got that blue page.
yeah, yep, there you go.
There we go. Thank you.
Stephanie, since you're here and you know the most, I think, in the room about the situation, would you like to just give a summary?
Sure, definitely. So the Hacks came to us in December, the Plan Commission, with a petition to rezone and split off a 2-acre parcel for a new building site. There was a density study done that did show that they were qualified, that they did have one building split on the 109 acres that was taken as of 1995. There were questions at the Plan Commission meeting. There were several different types of questions, but I would sum it up to be the original farm acres question, being that it was maybe 190 acres way back when, but as you can see, that doesn't really matter in this case because it really is only after 1995 that they're going to do a density study on. And then if this unit, because this is what Tim and Diane's density study says, there was one unit available, that if this unit wasn't available, then would that mean that the property across the street would no longer have the availability to split? So since then, we have found out that the property across the way would also have the ability to split.
Right. So the county, whether it was a correction or just a clarification,
Or just a
they're
deeper dive, they have found then, yes,
There are two.
Yes, there are 2 now.
Okay.
So we do have a density study that reflects that.
Okay.
So the Plan Commission voted with a 4-3 to recommend approval to you based on this density study stating that they have one.
And this approval is for one of those.
Yeah, because the other one is not
Yeah.
petitioned for.
and a deed restriction saying there's no additional
Correct.
On this,
on this parcel.
Just that property, yes.
And then I would like to clarify that our plan would allow for the. Is hack the correct pronunciation? Okay, I'm sorry, I don't wanna, the hacks could separate their house because it was built prior to 94, so they can separate their house into a smaller parcel. So, meaning they can't create another buildable house, but if they wanted to separate it into a smaller lot size, do you understand? So when you guys go up there, they may not have talked about that at the plan commission, but the county would probably, when they do their, reports, they'll let you know that if you ever at some time wanted to say, hey, we want to separate our house into maybe like, right now we have a minimum acreage of 2, you would have to do 2 acres, but you could do that at some time.
Okay.
That,
Doesn't count against.
it
your
doesn't count
split.
against the split.
Okay,
Right.
that's still allowable.
So if you happen to watch or attend the plan commission meeting where this was discussed, there were a lot of tangents related to this item that many didn't apply and don't apply to this petition. So it's, at the end of the day, it's pretty simple and clean. If, and if you have any questions for the owners, or any questions, period.
I'm just trying to understand where this lot is. Where,
Oh, I can
Where
bring
on
up,
the
I
property
can
it's
bring up
going
the
to be?
map.
yes, where on the property it's going to
Okay.
be, just so I.
Oh, I have the map.
So I saw those maps.
Yep.
And I saw the survey.
The
saw that.
survey map doesn't really show, but if you just wanna,
I can click on, do you want to do excess stain? Is that
I mean,
probably
you could,
better?
but you could also just go to like their, even their density study, they can kind of show you in the corner of their lot.
Oh,
where it's
okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
just, yeah, I don't need a survey to show me. I'm just like, it's gonna go right in here.
on the density study map.
This one?
Yeah, even that one. And
Yeah, those.
any of those will work, wherever they can find their parcel.
Okay.
And then one of you. Okay.
Point that out on the area there. Thank you.
Corner kind of in line with all the other houses.
It'll be that.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Because I thought I might have had, might not have anything from Larzac. I don't have. The preliminary CSM.
The preliminary CSM doesn't show it like
Oh, it
that.
doesn't show it,
Mm-mm.
okay.
No, because we had that question at the plan commission and they wanted something that maybe does show it. But, you know, that it was like that somebody else might question where it is. So they just showed it in that corner there, because it doesn't show that parcel as a whole, it's just showing what the like new lot's gonna be.
But there's an existing field driveway right
Yeah.
there.
In
So,
which the plan commission said, not necessarily do they have to use, and they're not really concerned about the driveway.
Yeah, we can put the driveway anywhere.
They're gonna discuss that at, you know, when they move further along.
Any other questions? If, what I'd like to do is, get a motion from someone. And if you look at the bottom of Jennifer's memo. Again, up to page, my page.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's at the bottom.
so at the very bottom is, we want to be a little careful as far as, motion language. So if you choose to move, then please, read that verbatim as part of your.
I would move that we approve petition DC PREZ -2024-12126. Rezone and land division for Tim and Diane Hack, 1060 Glenway Road, with a deed restriction for no additional splits. Town's comprehensive plan does allow homes built prior to 12/15/1994, such as 1060 Glenway, to be separated and put into a smaller parcel.
Okay, do you hear a second?
Second.
40 seconds. Any other discussion about this or any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both say no, and motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. You're on your own now.
It's getting warmer, by the way. It's supposed to be 45. It's okay.
No, I made
Just
Those flush.
Just out of curiosity, did you have any site distance or any other safety issues associated with the county has to approve?
They still go to the county.
It does, okay, so that's where that lies.
And I will say that they do, like, so Lori could talk about it, but they, at the plan commission, they do consider, and Stephanie will probably walk out here in just a second. They did, one of the things was they talked about where the driveway would be. And, that was one of the issues, like, they did have to, and I wasn't at the plan commission meeting, but you're right, like, site distance of where that lot would be.
Mhm.
And I believe, Stephanie, did you, okay, is the lot, I know, I can't remember where on the corner is that exactly, is it the corner by, is it this corner?
You got it.
No, it's,
Just out of that guy.
Okay,
Right across from Vermont, right on corner of Glenwood.
Got it.
Lincoln.
Right here.
it's this corner.
Yeah.
It'll
Okay,
be right in there.
it's that corner. Okay, that's where the corner is. Okay, so and where's the field driveway?
I don't know. Okay, it's not obvious on this.
I think it's
Okay,
right
Oh,
above
is it like
here,
right
right
here?
here.
that's the field driveway. And
That
that's
kinda
the
looks
field
like it
driveway.
might be
Okay,
open
that's the
there.
field driveway. Okay.
And then they, like they said, there's already approved access there,
Okay,
but the plan commission did say, not necessarily do they have to use that. So based on where this all lines up, there might be even better, you know what I mean? They'll discuss that when the driveway permit is
Yeah.
like,
That's where the steps in.
Look.
And they'll have to see their plans, blueprints and.
Yep. and then they'll decide where the driveway.
Sure.
We'll just make sure it complies with the ordinances.
And the other property that makes up the total acreage is across the road. Is that
yes,
correct?
yes,
And that's that property, it sounds like, still has a split available.
yes.
Okay.
Right here,
Yes,
Okay.
this like area there is the other property.
so it's kind of like, yes, it's kind of like that.
Yep, and then back, there's
Right.
there's back, like, I guess what you consider like a back.
Right, so like, it's like, this is like, this
Part
is
of it.
one of it. And then there's this one, which is kind of like this L-shaped one.
Yeah.
So this has, where this is probably where you would put a split, right? Because that would look like a driveway back to what you would
Yes.
probably say would be a lot.
Yeah,
And then I believe then this is another parcel they own.
Yes, that's
Right
also
here.
within the density
So,
study.
right, this is
Okay.
another one they own, which would look like they would almost,
Yeah.
be like an extension of something they would be in the village at
Now
some
that-
point. would look
Is that, no, Don, I forgot his last name.
Yeah, Don.
Is that Don's brother? That owns that property up there, that?
This is a Denton property.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
it says that Don's or Don's wife's brother that I think that farms that and owns that property or
So
farm it.
that property, this property here, and this property here are all owned by the same
Yeah.
person, those three.
okay.
Yeah, and then the woman that was here, the hack, that's the sister
Right,
of the person that owns those three.
okay. So,
And so he has, this is his home, and then,
Oh,
and that's his
Yeah.
home. And then this is right here, this is, and this is.
I can attest, they've been very good neighbors as far as with the golf course. The place is clean, the place is, it's a.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah, you're okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Stephanie.
Good night.
Just a side question, now is Don going to be petitioning for another property, for another house on their property? I understood that one of their daughters or something wants to build, I'm just,
that's why I
This
asked
is-
if this is an approval.
this is something,
for one.
this is something for the future, I'm just.
No,
I don't
I
think it's-
think that. I
That
think
was a
that,
hypothetical.
I was like, oh, okay,
That's where some of the confusion.
It's not real. It's not-
Okay.
It's a hypothetical.
okay, so if you wanna go, since we're here, let's
was gonna
just
say,
go
talk
to,
about
yeah, why don't we just talk about it now? Let's just kind of, if you want to, since we're on the page where the petition was, we're at the memo that you
Yeah.
just looked at.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just kind of flip through that page and you'll kind of have, or let's keep flipping through. And we're gonna get to where it says page 2. There's a little page 2 at the bottom.
Oh,
Well, it's kind of page 2. And it says Dave Hageman, Town of Plan Commission.
One of two,
Right here.
right here.
Okay, yeah, I thought.
Right, follow page.
Here, one more.
So it looks like this, correct,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Jennifer, right?
Yeah, mhm.
This one?
Yeah, so when it came to the plan commission, this was Dave Hageman. He was the one, so we're gonna go to page 1. He said in 1983, the Denton farmstead consisted of 188, I'm sorry, let's go to the first one. Brian, members of the town plan commission have a couple of questions regarding the ardent and dental density study completed by Dane County.
Oh, okay.
It was included in the rezone petition in which the plan commission reviewed and unanimously approved this past Tuesday night. In 1983, the Denton farm consisted of 188 acres, see attached 1983 plat book picture. Can you explain how the density study above was determined to be 109.8 acres for the Denton farmstead in 1995 as used for the density purposes? Okay, so anyways, he goes on to then say, why was this parcel not included? Why was one split and there's no further splits? She said she'd be using, the brother believed he has a split. Some of this is like, kind of like this irrelevant, and that was what the confusion really was, is the brother wasn't here.
Wasn't asking for a. split.
The brother wasn't here, he wasn't asking for a split. Also,
Okay.
The
Okay.
only business before the plan commission was this petition.
okay, so let's turn the page, let's turn the page.
Officially,
Let's turn the page and let's turn to chapter 8, page 9. This is our comprehensive plan. The town will utilize the 1995 Land Atlas and Plat Book for Dane County by Rockford Map Publishers as a guide for determining original farm ownership and acreage as of December 15th, 1994. So why was he asking about
1983 information.
um,
It's just extraneous.
irrelevant.
Just irrelevant.
Yeah, totally irrelevant.
It's just irrelevant. It's whatever the map said from 95.
right? So what these two people
Yeah.
Well,
Heartache.
it was very confusing during the meeting
So,
for the
Yeah. Yeah.
residents.
right, so anyways. Yes, so the brother has one and they have one, and it didn't mean the brother wanted to use one. And then what I wanted to show you though, which I wanted to print this because I feel like, I don't know, why do I feel like there's no real learning things? But the county does our density. And this is what they have to pay for this. So they have to pay for this, and this is what the hacks,
The hex,
yeah, this is what they have to give to Dane County, and they give them $200, I believe. And that's what they have to fill out, give $200, and then that's what tells them. And then that's how they come to us. So not only do they have to sort of kind of, so, you know, I guess that's kind of.
I'm good.
One check. There we go.
So.
and at some point,
So we'd like to sort of maybe always refer back to our plan when we're asking questions. So we're opening our books and looking at what we should be looking at when we're, and that's why it's,
Not just an old plan.
right,
Mm.
and I don't think there's anything wrong with asking questions of the county, but it probably should be sorted out at the commission level first, like, you know, discussion about the process would be good, and I think that we'll see that happen in the future.
just not in front of maybe the town residents.
Right, that's right, yeah.
Maybe because I had a lot.
We'll have to do a work session or something.
Yeah.
Or a different meeting, but
And we've all had a chance to review our plan, right? I mean, I just making sure we've had a chance to review it and we've all got copies and.
it's posted online.
It's posted online too, right?
Okay, anything else on 8A? Do you want to do 8B as long as we're here? Sort of.
Sure.
Let's just do 8B and get it done. So Oh.
That's right after the page we were just discussing.
And the edits, yeah.
Nothing
So you
on
can
the end.
see, Jennifer, tell me if I'm just generalizing, making this way too simple, but more or less, the county will handle most of the, conditional use permit requests. The town or municipalities do not have to do the public hearings or really give an approval, they can, provide a recommendation or more information. Is that way too simplified?
I think, no, I think that's good. It said staff will be developing and distributing written guidelines. I believe if anyone's planning to attend the Dane County Towns Association, there'll be some additional information tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just, having gone to the first Towns Association meeting I went to, one of the first, they had another, that's when they rolled out that idea about you had to wait a year to reapply for those CUPs because townships were just getting slammed by people coming back every month and trying to, I just
Work
got,
the system.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
bully the
I
system.
got the feeling that this, they're just fine tuning this to make it more structured so that they have some boundaries when they get these sometimes very frivolous or very, ridiculous, I don't know the word I want, but people try to bully.
Bully the system,
They try
right.
to bully their township and the county, and that's why they emphasize this idea about factual. You want to have a clear factual reasons why you're taking the position you're taking. And so I just felt like, yeah, this looks like it's all to the betterment of the whole process.
So we just had that conditional use permit in the last 60 days.
Yes,
Would this have changed their requirement to
That
come
one
here?
for the bed
yes,
and breakfast
right.
one?
yes. It would have changed it in the sense that we had to run it like very kind of convoluted where we were trying to be very like, we were taking the rezone and then we were trying to be very like, with the CUP, it was like, we are trying to be very straight and narrow, like running it like a court of law and
Yeah.
and we would be able to run it more like, like we could do it in a way where, instead of feeling like you had to make a decision, you could run it in a way where we could just collect feedback,
Information.
and we could just pass that along to the county.
And we wouldn't make that decision.
And we
Then the
wouldn't have
county
And we
would.
would have to make
My
that decision.
understanding too is that we could either make a recommendation or not make a
Yeah.
recommendation.
We could even not make one at all.
Just,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, it's
Yeah.
well, actually, I guess that's true,
Yeah.
recommend, don't recommend, or no
Or
opinion.
no opinion. And I think, when you look behind it to see how, there are all these personal agendas
Sure.
that come to bear with the board relationships between residents and board members. And I think it's gonna make it a little easier on everyone.
Make it more objective.
Yes, that's the word, make it more
Right.
objective and not have someone say, well, that'll obstruct my view of the,
Sure. Pond or whatever.
old pond that's, yeah.
Mhm.
Right, okay.
Because that's what comes to bear on a lot of these discussions is I just don't want my neighbor building that thing across from me.
Yeah, right.
And it's not it's not in your power to
Yeah.
prevent it
Yeah.
and take it out of the immediate governance unit to the county level.
The one thing in that whole discussion that we had, the one thing that just stuck with me was this issue around transferring.
I
or
thought
sale
that
of
was
property.
a poor,
I just wanna,
Yeah.
I want some clarity around that.
yeah.
As to whether or not that can easily be transferred without going back through the process as a new owner.
Yeah, but my thought was, would you really want that to pass to a new owner?
Right, exactly.
And
Yeah.
would that be for the best of the township?
Yes, right.
I thought that should have been, I thought that should have been explored more.
yeah,
So what Majid had suggested is the town has often used this thing like handling it on a case by case basis. It's been said, and Majid really said that is not something you would want to do anymore with CUPs. So things that are
So
handled
that's
by
that subjective.
CUPs.
Mhm.
He said, you're gonna wanna look at your plan, what we are just reading here on the page. And anything that says CUP, if you don't want to transfer CUPs, put it in your plan that you don't want the
And then you
transfer.
won't.
And then
Yeah.
the county will say, we won't allow that.
It needs to
So
be
it
reapplied
would
for
need to be reapplied
if
for.
the
And
property or
yeah,
the
and
ownership
they,
changes.
yep, and the county, because they're going to be the, they're gonna be the one approving it. They will enforce that because it's in our plan. So we need to, basically put that in our comprehensive plan. And Majid said he feels very strongly that we need to do it. And it's important we do that.
That we put that
No,
issue
no, no,
specifically.
anything we feel
Yes.
specific, I'm so sorry, anything we feel very strongly about, because now we're losing power. And he hates, and like, that's a very controversial type of statement,
Sure.
but it's true, we're losing power, because we could, in this particular case, we could deny something and they could still approve it and it would still go through.
Right.
So,
Unless it was in our plan that
yes,
didn't
exactly,
fit in our plan.
exactly.
Right. Actually, that's a good target for the planning commission to start on
Yeah.
an update
I think
with
that's-
your change, because we have some edits here and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I
And
think
I
that,
think
and
it's time
that
to pull that together,
particularly, that transfer, I think particularly
right?
is worth more discussion.
It doesn't strike me as ever being a good idea.
I don't see
Period.
how. I don't, yeah,
Because there is a certain. Ugh, I hesitate to use this, but there is a certain character judgment you're making
It is.
by the
true.
people who are sitting there
Yes.
asking for it. We're saying, we trust and believe you.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, there's this
yeah.
transfer, there could be this transfer and it's like.
yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think that's fair to say, because the way we do it now, or did it, we're not separating the character of the applicants
Yes.
and the actual concept of whatever the use is going to be.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
again-
it goes all together.
And I use very specifically, alcohol, the
Oh, yeah.
alcohol rights.
Oh, yeah, that's
That,
a good one.
I've seen it happen, where someone comes in and applies for a, bar, whatever, an alcohol license.
Yeah.
And then it gets transferred to somebody you would have never
Given it to-
approved.
That's good, that's a good point.
And, for whatever reason. And that's
That's
all
history, record, yeah.
I wanted to.
No, that's
But I mean,
a good point.
that's the whole point of the conditional use
Yes.
period, is to make sure that you maintain
Yes,
the plan you're trying to keep in place.
Yes,
It's
for
not-
sure.
you don't want to change this into a bed and breakfast.
yes, whatever, yeah. Yeah, the intent originally was this, and the proof is this, and now all of a sudden. Something's changed. Sure. Okay, that's fine. So do you talk to the plan commission?
Well, I think what I was just thinking is that we put this on for next month when Arlen is back.
Okay.
And Arlen continues to be sort of the conduit between the board and the plan commission, because I think it's for your edits, and there may be other things too. So let's
So,
It's an
and
evolving.
make it a document.
Majid said that, so now, everyone may not know, Brian Standing is retiring from, Dane County.
I did not know
I
that.
did,
And
yeah.
so Majid said that, they are hiring, and obviously there's gonna be a change of staff, but they do want to continue to, help townships out with planning services. So, they would be available to help us with some updates, but, he said we would probably have to sign up to basically be in their queue. Obviously, it's, for us, it's a benefit because it would be less expensive. And maybe we could just get in their queue, and at the same time, plan commission could work on looking at what our CUPs. Yeah, and then when we get called up on their queue, maybe it would be like, hey, these are what we want to do.
Oh.
We have your edits that we'd like to get in there as well. Lori looked at the plan, and we just weren't able to get her edits in
Right.
at the same time that.
It was copy edit stuff.
Yeah,
It wasn't any.
Yeah.
But it was.
Material,
But
sure.
it was stuff. Really fun. You know, like a technical document that has references to tables and they use a different tabling. They call some of them table A and some of them table 1, 2, 3.
yeah.
I mean, stuff like that that made it confusing
Sure.
to look at. And I don't know, that's what, I used to teach that stuff.
But it's, well, it's just not, it's an inconsistent outline. It's just-
Well, and technical documents are really something because when you need them, you need to understand what's in them. And you need to be able to find stuff. Why go to all that work? And then someone's looking at it and they're going, what is this?
Yeah,
You know?
table, all I saw were the graphs in here.
Okay, anything else, any other discussion on this? I'd be looking for a motion then to approve the ordinance amendment of 2024-8-3.
Okay.
A motion to approve the Dane County Ordinance Amendment 2024 OA-23 regarding the review process for conditional use permits.
All right, here a second.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no, and motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back up to the top. To Item 3, approval of minutes. I think we just have one set in here from the December 10th meeting. Any questions or comments or objections to that? And hearing none, then without objection, those minutes from December 10th are approved. Member, do you want to take financial report?
So for our payment approval report, we've got some of our, we start the year off and I make our budget contributions. So we have what we pay, the Oregon Community Foundation is what we make, for the, cable channel. We do our youth center. We do, our senior center. We make all those big contributions in January. So then we make all of them whole right away at the beginning of the year and we get them, out of the way, right away. So that's what makes our January, and that's kind of where we see our tax dollars right away. So, that's what we have. Other than that, we have Brooklyn's budget. We have a few, property taxes that, refunds. These are sometimes where, people have, their mortgage escrow checks and sometimes they pay.
Oh,
Sometimes-
that's, I was wondering
Sometimes,
what that.
sometimes
I was wondering what that was. So it's like,
Yes.
why are we sending them?
double payments. I
Got it,
don't
okay.
quite understand how they do that, but it's,
They're-
maybe
They
they,
send one and
Yeah,
send one.
yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes it's like, or if they've refinanced or done something throughout the year, sometimes they have, they've done that, so we make them whole. Other than that, I would say if you want to see, we were made aware that, there was a landfill surcharge. So if you can look at the Pelletary,
Yeah,
there was this $370.14. I was a little surprised by that amount of money, but there is this. They had sent a letter about it. There is, and I believe this is a pass-through fee from what I can remember.
Is it based on volume or is it based on?
Believe so. I would have to circle back and look at it. But it's some type of landfill fee. So, yeah,
Okay,
that might be something we will want to kind of monitor and look at.
and it wasn't a fuel surcharge.
No, it was an actual landfill because there is still the fuel surcharge.
so that was from, so the invoice was dated December 31st. Was that for all of
It was
twenty
for,
twenty-four or just
No.
for December?
just for December.
So, okay, interesting.
So we'll have to look and see. Yeah, I think we'll have to monitor that and find out what that is actually about. Yeah.
We don't really know exactly what it's.
There was a letter and, I should have paid more attention. I think we
From-
should just, from Pelletary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
I think we should,
Yeah,
watch that
I
a
would
little bit
agree.
more. Yeah. I did put the boring samples. I actually did email him only because sometimes when I don't know the company, but I like to get those guys paid. Sometimes I don't always know if they're smaller companies. I like to get them paid right away.
Before you go away from
Yeah.
that page with going up to the A's, can I just talk for a minute about the Arbor Systems $300? I talked to Ryan about it.
okay,
He
good,
called me.
good, yeah,
So a couple of years ago, we did a procedure where to try to make it easier for staff, if they needed to do something, needed to buy something, that they would essentially a double sign off. You know, they're saying, yes, we need to do this, and then somebody's saying, yes, we have the money, and it bypasses the board approval because we've already approved the budget with the condition that there be just a notification following, you know, reasonable for the next meeting or so on. This apparently was a tree removal situation where we had and tell me where I go wrong on this, Jennifer, because I could go wrong. So something fell in the right of way. I don't know if it was overhanging the right of way, nothing to do with the right of way. I thought okay. How about, let's do this. Do you want to describe
so, okay, so.
your understanding of the situation?
So a tree can sometimes be in a shared location in the road right away and in the homeowner's property. So it can be in a location that would maybe be between what would be in the right of way and what would be in the homeowner's yard.
Okay.
Okay, so let's think of Steve Jernigan. What was the person's name in Judd Road?
Dave Colosso.
Dave Plasso.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dave Plasso had a similar situation.
Mhm.
Was that shared or did we incur all of the expense of that? I
I think
can't
that was-
remember.
Oh, boy, I don't like, but it wasn't Arbor, that wasn't Arbor that did them.
No,
Oh,
mm-mm.
I don't know.
No, I
That was,
can't remember.
Who owns the kennel on, Burn Road?
Anyways.
Anyway,
Okay,
Sad family.
so this was a situation kind of like that.
Mhm.
These are situations where like, you know, Ryan called me and I feel like these are situations, they come and they're kind of questionable because you don't really know, they're kind of like a measurement thing.
Mhm.
And in my experience, it's always good to have a board member look at them or at least sort of kind of have a look. It's not where the money lies, where like you're going with it. It's not an expense thing. It's who's
Who's gonna make the call?
gonna make the call. It's a judgment call,
Right.
okay?
How did it come about?
I think with Colosso, matter of fact, to back up a second, I don't think that was shared. I think we took care of that.
And we talked about it at the board meeting.
Yeah, we took care of that.
Okay, so it's not that we don't have the money. I just want to make that clear because it's a little bit, I think you were going with it is like a money thing, which I know what you're talking about.
Well,
And I didn't look at this as, hey, do we have the money?
well, I'm looking at it, I did not assume that we didn't have the money, even if, because the 300 was half of the bill, correct? Half of the Arbor System bill,
I
somebody else paid the
I
other
think so.
300.
I'm not
That's
sure.
what Ryan said. It wasn't so much the dollar amount because $300, whatever, but it was more, do we really need, how much supervision do we need on a $300 decision? Is what I'm getting at. So it's the dollar amount as it impacts whatever the procedure might be. And my thought was, oh, that procedure from a couple of years ago, maybe we need to look at that for situations like this where it's low dollar amount. Judgment of staff. You know, I don't want to tie people up so much, tie staff up so much that you always have to come to the board for something.
I think it takes staff off the hook appropriately in a lot of cases. Where
What do you mean?
they don't want the authority. The staff doesn't want the authority to make that choice.
And I wouldn't be shutting that down.
Yeah, because I don't, you understand what I mean?
I think
I don't want the authority. Like, I'm being quite honest.
for, if there-
That's what I'm talking about.
if there were guidelines too.
Like.
Wait, like, well, now I don't.
Like, if it's our responsibility to take the whole tree down,
Yeah,
then I want to
Then-
take the whole tree down.
Okay.
Like, I think the town should take the whole tree down.
sure.
And I think the board could go out there and they would say, hey, Colosso, because Dave might have said, I'll pay for half of it. Well, if we go out there and say it's all our responsibility, then the town should pay for all of the tree to come down.
Sure.
And I think that that's appropriate. But it would be a town board member that's going to go out there, not a staff member that's
Yeah,
going to
a
go out
judgment.
there.
Well,
When it
Exactly.
requires a judgment call, I don't wanna put the staff in a position to make that call. It feels too personal.
I don't know, I could go, I feel. I can see both sides of it though, where,
I can to a point. And so if it's about just understanding what that limit is,
right,
dollars.
that's where the 300 comes into play for me,
$50.
right?
Okay,
Not if it were 5,000,
Yeah.
then no, we know.
sure.
300, 600, I mean, I don't know, to me.
Right now,
This
there
is just me,
isn't
this is my,
dollar.
this is just my opinion. My gut feeling on this is that for some dollar amount, some low dollar amount, 300 seems low to me in this situation. If Ryan feels comfortable making, or Abel feels comfortable making a decision, or Jennifer or Steph, then go ahead, make the decision.
So how did this, just so I have some sense of context, how did this specific thing come to light?
Don't know.
Does it make a difference to you?
Um,
And the reason I ask that is if the property owner called and said, I think the town ought to take that tree down. And then it becomes a judgment call. Instead, if the town comes to the table and says, I think we ought to take that tree down, here's why that is. Then I feel comfortable with Brian saying, here's the dollar amount I have to make that decision. But if it comes to us unsolicited, it's different.
right.
From my perspective. That's true. That's why I asked, how did this specific issue come about?
I don't know. And this is not an answer, a direct answer to that, but part of the impetus behind writing something up a couple of years ago was sort of staff empowerment, right? We don't need to make day-to-day decisions. We don't need to make every day-to-day decision for the staff.
Yeah, it's the old petty cash.
Trusted,
Uh-huh.
whatever, yeah, trusted people, that's why they've worked here for decades.
Yeah.
And there was control built into it. You know, if you're buying something, you need to get a couple estimates or quotes, and then also get a sign off or like an okay, that yep, there's budget money for that.
Yeah.
So there was a control to it. It wasn't just like, hey, go for it, buy $150,000.
Right.
It wasn't that at all. But in my head, I'm wondering if there should be some provision that covers some small expense without a board supervisor going to say, yep, that's a good decision. And I don't know.
We just err on the side of saying though that what you don't want to tip your toes in the water, and this is only from experience, is that you took down so-and-so's tree, why won't you take down
Yeah.
my tree?
Right.
And you know,
That is
and
a-
they might not understand, oh, well, we have this magical dollar amount.
Right.
Right.
And then somebody's
Yeah.
not necessarily gonna understand a
We know
magical
that.
dollar amount.
You can guarantee that one.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the unsolicited, if we determine for safety reasons, right away or close to the right away,
Right.
that needs to come down.
Right.
If we make that decision, let's give them a dollar amount.
Yeah, and there would have to be guidelines. I mean, like anything, there would have to be some kind of guideline. It's just not, hey, we're all winging it.
Right.
But it would be okay, if this kind of request comes up, what are the answers to these questions or whatever. So it's not necessarily a simple situation because it impacts some trust issues and budget issues. And I should say, it's 300, 600, whatever. It's not our money to spend, it's town money to spend, which is a big difference.
Right.
Which makes it, makes sense for us to err on the side of being more conservative about it. But I also don't want to not shut down, that's extreme, but slow down
hamstring
operations.
somebody.
Or slow down daily business just because we decided we need to control it now.
And that's why I talk about the unsolicited piece, because if we had thought it was a danger and should come down, then we've already
Right.
made that determination. If it's unsolicited, for lack of a better term, someone is coming to us and saying, I think you should spend town money on that.
if I say we should spend town money on that, that's different because we're responsible for that budget. If someone comes to us and says, I think you ought to spend town money on that, I don't think we should put Jennifer in that position
Right.
to say yay or nay, but that's, I don't know how we do that from a policy perspective.
And this is not something that comes up all the time.
Right.
You know, this is the first time I've ever really,
Yeah, but this is
aware of
a
a
issue
situation,
not
okay?
specific to trees.
no, right.
This just happens to be an example.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but on the subject of trees, do we do a kind of pass through the township every year I mean, we find out about them from the residents.
Sure, sure.
So should there be, on top of all the other work that he has to do,
right.
a kind of like little tree survey every year to just see if there's something to bad, or I'm sure.
They drive the road.
They drive the
They
roads
drive-
all the
Yeah, they
time.
do drive the road.
And I mean, you could see it, you drive around, you see it.
Right.
There's places where I know last year Mason brought up, so, or, areas on, for example, Bellbrook that don't pass the muster for the fire department because they can't get into
Oh,
the
that's a
properties
big
because
part of it.
that's a huge part.
Right.
That part,
That's
That's good, and that's
a
good.
big issue.
yeah, but that's also good to get the fire chiefs involved in that and sending out notices.
Mhm.
It doesn't just come from the, so it's most like the house on Eisenhower, which I want to bring up tonight again.
Oh.
Um,
So I just err on
Yeah.
the more caution side when it comes
I
to
get it.
money, that's all.
Yep.
It's just,
Well, we do have a cap right now, is it,
There's only the budget. I think the only limiting dollar amount is the budget.
oh, we don't say
I
if
think.
it's, if it's
Yeah.
a decision under so much money,
Hmm.
no, we don't do that.
No, because I think it's, as long as it's something, well, either we approved a project or we approved the budget that included
Mhm.
project money or purchase money.
Mhm.
So we don't necessarily say, oh, Abel, you have to. The truck that we approved for 100,000, you have to come up, you have to come back to the board if it's on 100,000 or less than 100,000, we don't say that, we're trying to eliminate the
Mhm.
duplicate work.
Well, unnecessary
Yeah.
amount of that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, just something, I just wanted to bring it up because it's a recent issue. Recent discussion. Denver, back to you.
I was done.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, any volunteers, we got it all. Okay, any questions from anyone about the financials? No? Without objection, then the financial report, loan update and payment voucher approvals are approved. Other comments? There's nobody online, correct?
Mary was online.
Mary. Just Mary. Okay,
Okay,
so yes, there is somebody online.
okay. All right, then item 6 is the one that we're gonna postpone to next month.
Mhm.
Item 7 is the tort report.
Yeah, should be right nearby where you were just looking. There's nothing much, they're now into their every first and third Saturday schedule.
Mhm.
And they put the signs up, there was, the board was asking about that, so the residents can see the signs. And as you'll see, the use has dropped off.
Mhm.
And I guess the point is, it's clear that the brush is the big draw down
Right.
there. Yeah,
Right,
and so this time of year, people probably have less, so this point being, this seems to be a schedule that's reasonable and workable for this time of year.
Mhm. I'm surprised there was that much brush.
Yeah, well, I think we get the Christmas trees.
Oh, that's
We
true.
get some Christmas
That's true.
trees this time of year. I thought there'd be more, actually.
I'm supposed to stave it for you, for all your rabbits, so you hide
Oh.
under their house. To increase your population.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anything else then, Lori?
No,
Report? Okay, and item 8, we covered both A and B. Public works report. There was some damage, let's see. There was some damage done while working on the culverts a month or so ago. Where it was the information. And let's see, Jennifer, do you want to do the summary on this? Here's what I remember is that the collector came back with, and this is partially Sue's negotiation, I think here. They came back with a splitting the dollar amount. Sue had said, I think her estimate was much lower than
Yes.
half, like 1,500 versus 6,000, I want to say is maybe the number.
1,500 versus is a $12,000 bill.
Yes.
Right,
And
but that-
half was 6,000.
Yes,
Right.
right.
Mhm.
So the last, and this is where I'll defer to Jennifer, but the last I heard is we really need to figure out what our next step is.
Right, yeah,
And I think what's important to understand is the $12,000 bill that was sent included a bunch of work that did not pertain to this project.
Right.
It included a fair amount of concrete. There is no concrete. It included asphalt work. There was no asphalt work. And so the issue became, there is all kinds of expense in this bill that does not pertain. And so I can't trust any of this bill.
Right.
And so what we ended up, the final discussion that Susie had with this person was that if you want to take out all the things, and she went line by line and said, this isn't here, this isn't here. If you want to take all those things out and resubmit them and then talk about splitting the bill,
Right.
maybe we can do that. But in the interim, we are not taking any fault on this. And B, send us a bill that pertains to this project, and then we can talk about it. And he decided he wanted to go back to Jennifer. And so this guy is remote. He has never been here, has never seen the project. We saw lots of pictures. And I think they have a standard form when something like this
Yeah.
happens.
I'm sure.
But he wasn't willing to scrub the numbers to get back to reality. And so it's just like, we'll settle on $1,500, not admit any fault if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, go away until you have something valid to talk about.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Bob Williamson.
one of the things to consider too is whether we have the town's attorney step in also.
I think the next step is on their side,
Just to wait for them.
because they have given us something that is completely invalid.
Well, it's fictional, it sounds like.
Fictional.
Who's had the last contact with Rob Williams?
so I reached out to him, well, I sent an email to Sue and you, Carl, and I just put Sue as an engineer, after he reached out, and I said, she has reviewed all the documentation, she has been on site, talked to staff, talked to the construction coordinator, and reviewed the repair work submitted with the Spectrum right-of-way application. The town is not working on an expired ticket, as you stated in your findings. The crew did hand dig at the location. The complete list of repairs are unreasonable, and the permit fee was not charged, no concrete. If you can provide an updated report as to why the town would be liable, an updated invoice of repair costs completed to date, and repair work that is completed in the future, the town will consider further action. Thank you.
I think that was perfect.
Yep.
Okay,
I think
So
that's
then-
great.
And he hasn't replied to that?
no, he replied.
Oh, okay.
6 days later, which I think is funny because usually
Yeah.
it's like immediate, but he said, we are not questioning the ticket. The line was marked correctly. As you can see in our photos, Susan is saying there was another line right next to our line. They assumed that line was our line, hit our actual line. I asked Susan for the photos. The two lines were the same. She said she didn't have any shower, just 1,500 to resolve this claim. I explained to her client not willing to accept that offer. She said, this is not up for negotiation. I can take it or leave it. This is not fair to my client. I told her we are willing to settlement. 50 foot, she were salute. Are we negotiating fair offer for my client? So that was it.
Yeah, okay. I just think we need to say,
I think in the middle.
I mean, so yeah, so that, I mean,
we've
I
asked
feel
for an
like,
updated bill
yeah,
that's accurate.
Right.
instead of fiction.
I think, and whether it's Sue or Jennifer, it doesn't matter, but somebody should just say, we need the bill corrected.
I mean, I feel like I did say that.
She did say that.
I would agree.
He redirected.
I feel like at this point, it's like, I feel like he should do some work.
Yes, correct.
Like, I mean, like, why, I mean, like, he just keeps on like hounding me.
Yes.
And like,
He's trying to wear you
He's a
down.
collector.
He's
yeah.
trying to wear
And
you
like,
down.
and I'm not like willing, because every single time I feel like that I respond, that I just get like a million back at it. And
Yes.
it's like, I wanna like not.
Mhm.
I did though, reach out, I did tell you, Carl, I did reach out and I have not heard back from I did reach out to our insurance agent and I haven't
Oh,
heard back.
okay.
I did just
That
ask
was the
our
other thing,
insurance
that was the
agent
other thing.
and asked, but I didn't hear
Yeah,
back.
okay, that was the other-
Insurance agent, I just said, hey, this is what we're dealing with. Do you have any experience? And could you let us know?
Okay,
Just because our insurance agent might have gotten back to us and I didn't hear.
I read
That
it
was it.
through a few times. I had to read it again, but it didn't say anything.
Yeah,
I
just-
it was avoiding, an answer. is
Yeah.
all.
I heard them
I
going
agree.
in this conversation. And I'm literally line by line, went down through and said, you know, things like, well, the concrete work is a good example. They use this unit rate. It says units, 2 units. And she's like, what's a unit? Could you define a unit for me? And he's like, I'll have to get back to you on that. And it over and over and over again.
right,
And
right,
I agree.
Yeah.
Make him do some work.
yeah. And this guy, if it's just essentially a collection agency.
Yeah.
Then he's not gonna know.
He
He won't know the details of the bill,
Right.
so he would have to go back to,
just has no power.
I don't know, yeah,
I just think they know the threshold by which we're willing to just send a check. Well, if we have to litigate this, or well, if we have to, you know, go out and get, you know, our own investigate, whatever, there's a threshold.
right,
And we have proven that that is not good enough for us.
it'll be interesting to see if the insurance agent, yeah,
Dupree.
will work. Once he surfaces, whether he says, okay, I'll contact this guy, or whether he will contact Spectrum.
I think Mitch would just respond to me and he probably will say, I know,
Something.
I just asked him like, do you have any experience? He'll probably say, I have no experience, or he'll just,
Okay,
I mean, the concrete issue is $3,300 of this to begin with, and
That's a ghost.
and
And there
she
was
went
no-
down and said, okay, let's take that off. And she's got all the notes for this.
Mhm.
He took off. We're down to $4,000 and that's when she said, we'll give you $1,500 to go away. And we are not admitting we did anything wrong.
right,
That's our threshold of resistance.
okay. I think, to me, it feels like partially weight on this guy.
Yeah.
But see what the insurance company has to say. And then, based on that, if it is an answer saying, oh, I've no experience in that, then I think,
I'd send
I'm still
him your
tempted.
email. Send him your email again.
or I could email him or something, you know. But I would copy Bill Morgan on it.
I just feel like, it would cost, Bill's gonna charge us,
Yeah.
so I just feel like,
Oh, I know.
I just feel like, and it's like,
But he won't
it's like
charge
there's a
you.
direct permit fee, like Sue was saying, it's like $500. Who's charging the permit fee?
Yeah,
Like,
Right.
the
they're
town,
saying, we're gonna back charge you for the permit we had to buy to get this work done. They're like, didn't someone know that?
No.
It's fictitious,
Right.
So he was
Right.
using some sort of template.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, just here,
It just-
include these charges, because
Yeah.
people won't question that.
Right.
Well, let's just see, okay, so let's wait, see how it plays out over the next month or so. And talk about it again.
Yeah.
Next meeting, but figure out how to make it go away after that, without paying 12,000.
Yeah.
Without paying more than 1,500.
I think that the one thing that, we would learn is that the guys should always learn to take pictures after they're done.
Yes, yes. So there is a
Before and
certain
after.
continuing education cost
Yeah.
we're going to have here.
Yeah.
Right now, we feel that's $1,500.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and this is, probably not appropriate, but what if Spectrum, when they came calling for right-of-way permits that we turned down until we get this resolved?
I think that we should have been more proactive when they were actually doing the repair in this location. We probably should have been more proactive at that time. I don't think that future ones
Well, just because it's Spectrum. I mean, I know it's different subcontractors, but.
no, I don't know that would be.
Okay. Okay. All right, so we looked at
Okay.
permit.
I included the boring samples after that, just in there, just for you.
Mhm.
I don't know which road goes to what, and I apologize for that. I should have asked him. I
A lot of
guess it
that's
didn't
just a
state.
different language.
Okay, sorry.
And I just think. Let the group that ordered the blinds read it and summarize it for us.
I look at it, and there was an email, and Sue listed the sites when she was communicating,
Right.
1 to 10. And so I think these numbers correlate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it says
Addresses.
range and
But
I
it
was
would
like,
be very helpful, I think, even to the engineers, if each document specified what the road is.
Yeah,
so
even if it just had a cover letter,
Mm.
that email
Or
that
just-
said
Just put the cover.
location number
Yeah,
1.
Yeah, and I think that, what the materials for the meeting, we should make sure they get that cover letter along with the board
Yeah.
results. So then they can pretty much know which road is which. And I tried to make any sense out of what these say and what it indicates about, this condition of these roads.
Right.
And, I don't have can't complete any sort of recommendation.
I don't want to. You can have both. It's the same, 10.
Yes. They do have
Looks good to me.
approximate addresses on the bottom right hand corner there.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
But there is also there is a geolocator. embedded
Oh,
in
it does
this
that.
Document.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
Yeah.
Because it's buried at the bottom of the page. And people always look at the top first, and then they go down to the bottom.
Right. So anyway, there's an
Really?
approximation
So, okay,
address.
I retract that comment about the locations, that's clear there.
Geoprobe, okay, here we go.
Anything else public works related? Okay, moving on, business inspection. Permit list, someone. That's just informational. Jennifer, anything about that at all?
the building inspection report. Nope, the new fees are going to be, starting January 1.
These are all December's.
Yeah, those are all this.
And again, I know we postponed number
For the park?
6.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that we get that approved and Dane County signs off on it before we get a home building site. Because I want to get that park fee
Right.
reinstituted.
I think what will happen, I think, next.
So maybe we should talk about that in the next one where I have it under agenda item. Well,
Okay.
when it.
Well, before you do that, let me just a quick thing. I think one way or another, we're gonna walk out of the next meeting with an approved park.
Okay.
It'll either have additional information or not. If it doesn't, but there is additional information out there, I think we approve based on what we have and amendments happen.
Would you be opposed to doing that in this meeting?
We,
Because we've essentially approved it, but
Yeah,
we were
but-
expecting a couple of data points on some school sites.
we didn't notice it that way. So the agenda doesn't allow for that. The agenda item is just for the resolution.
couldn't get the resolution from, I was working with Bridget about the resolution and she had some amendments to it, so I couldn't get the resolution. So I apologize. It was just a whereas type thing and she didn't
Okay.
have it all whereasy for me.
Got it.
And so we couldn't quite get it all worded, and so I
Thank you
apologize
for
for
that
that.
clarification.
So two things though, actually, side note, is I thought about the same thing. And I even looked into, okay, what's the parliamentary
Yeah.
procedure to do that? And I think I found it, but I also don't like the idea of doing that with 4 out of 5. So because we were all here and approved it, I'd rather, technically we could do it if it were on the agenda. But I think we won't be harmed by moving next month. Okay, item 11 is board communication and future agenda items. Before we get to the calendar of things, I just wanted to mention for next month. Besides the park plan, that's one thing. Besides just talking about the comprehensive plan edits, the second thing to add. And I also would like to take another step into talking about center. Arlen has done a little bit of work in just thinking through it, so it'd be good to hear what he's thought about. But this is the idea of, okay, where do we go when this site becomes, when we outgrow this site and it becomes sensible to move to some location. So it's a big deal, but we need to talk about whether we want to do that, period. And what we want to, if we decide we want to explore, how do we want to explore that idea?
I know that there was a little bit of a sense of urgency about that discussion when this property down here came up and how they were going to link that property to the village. And we're all aware that that issue kind of dissolved, right? That sense of urgency isn't there anymore, but I think it's still an important topic, considering our unique
It
place
comes back.
here.
Like really the situation that exists now, if you project into the future, not that far, it makes sense probably for us not to be meeting like that. But while there really isn't that urgency, the urgency might come from it's going to take half a decade, whatever the planning is, plus the actual building. Sure, it's not a year project. It's not a 2-year project. 5+ something like that. But that'd be a good thing to talk about. So I think next month there should for sure be a discussion. Anything else is on just sort of talking about agenda items for February?
I have a couple of questions that may or may not go on. One of them would be, I was thinking about parks. How much of the Kennedy Park is lined with, it is adjacent with the town of Rutland? Because Rutland has Truman Street, it has a Carter goes back. And I was always wondering, should there be some sort of shared responsibility with Rutland for that park since you?
Well, that's interesting.
So that's just something I thought I'd bring up, and I never did bring it up in a park meeting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
It kind of goes along with my next one, not really, is of course on that park also is that house on Eisenhower where is the reason why we wrote the ordinance or boarding ordinance or whatever kind of evolved from that house, and nothing's been that property going taking a few rides by there again has gotten nothing worse and worse. I mean, it is. I'm surprised that we haven't been inundated with their neighbors here. What are you going to do about it? It is well, and if you look at the properties around it, a lot of those properties aren't that well kept up. And it's the only area I'll go kind of past that.
Which property is that?
As you come in on Eisenhower, right before
Kind of on the corner.
Kennedy Park. It's like 3 houses in. It's really,
Oh, yes,
You
I
can't
know,
you,
miss it.
you can't miss it.
I know what you're
You
talking
can't
about.
get to the front door anymore. There are 3 cars with flat tires in that driveway. There's at least 2 trash campers. The overgrowth onto the house that goes to the backyard, that kind of goes adjacent to the park itself. There's obviously, I'm not ready to go knock on a door, but is Dane County involved in, is there anybody even living there anymore? I know she died.
I was just gonna ask the
Is
same
he
thing.
still there?
I don't know.
I think it might be, because there was one other car in that driveway that actually had 4 good tires.
And the one that it backs up to is in there too, the one on the Kennedy Park.
Yeah.
Port there.
And the houses, like I said, the houses around there aren't in the greatest of shape, but there's nothing wrong with their properties. But it's a sore piece of property right there, and this would be good to have Arlen here, because I like his views on
So
it.
you're looking to talk about it then?
Yes, but I think we should talk about them, but that's, let's.
And weren't you thinking in general, just about that issue in general? I know we did have an ordinance
Yeah.
that we didn't approve it.
I should talk to Glenn, because I say, Glenn,
Yeah.
do your personnel have to put on a hazmat suit first before they walk in there? Because I know there was a lot of, there was feces and other things
Yeah.
within there when the woman was sick. I don't think it doesn't look like anybody's ever been out there to clean the place out.
Mm.
But that's a key part of what we wrote up, is it
Mhm.
hinged on
And the health.
safety
The
and
health
not
and well-being.
Yeah, rather than
aesthetics.
appearance.
Right.
Correct. But this appearance right now has gotten.
But for sure,
Anyway.
let's talk about it more.
The other thing, I do have one other thing, if we're done talking about that. Specifically with regards to the Brooklyn Fire EMS. We have talked in the past about this maintenance of effort requirement.
Mhm.
And there's been a lot of talk around the maintenance of effort reporting requirement that's out there. And in our last conversation, there was a discussion that we would like to see each municipality reach out in support of right sizing that effort. And there's a very different criteria for policing, I think, that it starts at a population of 20,000. And all of these small little towns are so much smaller than that. And that the effort is extraordinary for each of those small municipalities. And if one municipality falls short, and one did this year,
Oh, in Brooklyn?
yes,
Oh,
everybody lost out.
oh.
Yeah, Albany didn't do their fire inspections.
Yeah, Abel can talk to you about that.
And everybody lost out on
Yep.
their piece.
Mm.
It was a big,
It's a big deal.
it's a big deal.
It's,
Again, there just should be some reasonableness as to the reporting requirements, and because it does affect the people who can least afford to be affected.
mhm.
So for next month, do you want to talk about it from what perspective? For some kind of action to?
Yes,
to
some action
communicate
so that we
officers?
can, so that when I go to that meeting, I can say, we would support that letter
Okay,
as a municipality within this district. We would support that communication. They do have the ear now of Howard Markline and Jenna Jacobson to address that criteria for reporting.
Okay.
And I need authority to say Town of Oregon would be in support of that tact.
okay, let's for sure talk about it next month.
Okay, great.
Okay, any other agenda items, and if not, Jennifer?
I just wanted to say there's two houses that are like, so this is the park, Steve, this is it's Kennedy Park here,
Mhm.
kind of like, like-
That's the
right, kind
There
of,
we go.
kind of like, that's sort of like part of what the town of Oregon, like,
Yeah.
right? And so, these two here, these two parcels here are Rutland's, sorry, kind of making everyone sick here. These two right here, kind of at the very tail
That's it?
end, those two are.
Okay.
And then these ones are all in the town of Oregon, so it looks like just these two.
Does Carter Street run into the park? Carter intersects with Truman.
Let's take a look here. Carter here, let's see what is. Carter running into the park. Well, Carter is here. Carter runs into this
Is that park?
That's not the park. This is
Okay.
the Friedel. So Carter runs into that property.
Okay.
So.
So it is just those two properties.
Yeah, I mean, Carter is town of Rutland, but,
It is.
yeah, but it doesn't run into the park. It runs into that.
I mean, do the properties actually have to be adjacent? I mean, because that whole area is Rutland and Town of Oregon.
Oh, good
And it's
point.
the park for that whole area. It's the park for that area. I lived there for 6 or 7 years, and I had no idea that was a Town of Oregon park.
Mhm.
And living in Rutland, it's one of those parks that, quite frankly, I know we had people here talk about. To be honest with you, I've never seen much use there. And many of the parks I haven't witnessed a lot of usage. But,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean it's not used. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I
and
have-
bordering, so
I
as
have my own
you,
little island by Allen Drive, so.
yeah, so as you're describing, bordering the park.
Yeah.
Isn't really the question we're asking.
But-
It's a neighborhood.
It's a
park.
neighborhood park.
Neighborhood park.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Rutland has another park in there.
No, there's not another park in there.
Yeah, but I mean, so, but I was just pointing out what actually like, what houses thought up to that park. But obviously there's other homes that would be in Rutland.
And the only new construction was just before, just right after Foxborough, that new construction that's going on within the village right now. And that may or may not affect the park usage also, quite frankly, because it's walking distance even from there.
Yeah.
But,
That's a
that-
good question. though.
yeah, but I mean, would there be some shared resources, I guess is what you're asking, or
Mhm.
some?
Cause we're about to put a bunch of money in that.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Is there any
Yeah.
history of shared park space? Like, not just using it, but maintaining it?
I guess
I mean,
don't know the history.
anybody can go and use it. It's like,
Right, right.
And we encourage people to
I mean,
use it.
Right,
Is there any history of,
of the, like, two municipalities
Yeah.
sharing the expenses.
Mhm.
because we obviously have that neighborhood divided up for road maintenance,
Mhm.
Right,
plowing and
Right.
asphalt maintenance and things like that. We obviously have some kind of an agreement with them that this is where it belongs to you and this is what.
And I would imagine Naval and whoever the public works guy is for Rutland talk and, yeah, we'll do a little bit of this because it runs into your road.
That's again, because we're going to put some money into that shortly.
would that be a to-do list item for the Parks Committee?
I would think so.
I mean, I think that's the good.
Yeah, good idea.
That's, I no longer really have any responsibility for a park. I guess that much is good and, I really shouldn't, but again, I think the decisions need to be made by the citizens of the park committee, not from a board member that's part of the park committee. I think I see my job as more of looking at the financial end of it and not making decisions for the parks.
Do you want to talk about that more in February, or you just want to pass that along? to
I just like,
Dave?
I'll pass out, you know what, I can pass that along to Dave I'll go to the next park committee, I think it's the end of February. I'll show up for that one.
Okay.
And we talked about
Yep.
splitting it up a
See what
little
they
bit,
think
but,
of
but I'll go to that and talk to Dave about that, and talk to the committee members. And
Okay.
Eugene, is the one that basically has responsibility for, and he's done a lot of, Eugene, that whole committee has done a lot of work.
Yeah, they have.
They've done a
Yeah.
very nice job,
Yeah.
and I'm so happy. And Eugene, a couple of years ago, he wanted to do this.
Yeah,
Because
it's been great.
Yeah.
It's been really good. Okay, anything else as far as just agenda items, future items? If not, then Jennifer, any dates that you want to point out?
So February, we have the February primary. That's just great.
Right?
Yeah.
Take one,
Just one seat.
So the superintendent, is
Yeah.
really the necessary office, is that somebody please give me a job description because I think
I
we could.
think
Yeah,
I'm right, it is a necessary office. Unfortunately, it's gotten politicized over the years, and that's
Darn it.
Yeah.
but that so happened with the former superintendent along with Tommy Thompson. They bucked once.
So I think that, just the way that the calendar kind of falls, I
Mhm.
think that the plan commission probably will just get canceled then, because that will fall on that date. The way, yeah. Uh-huh. So, pushing on the plan commission meeting to the 18th. And then I just kind of did the calendar through the April election. So then we're gonna be, our April will have, April election will be the 1st. We'll have a board meeting then the 8th, and then the annual meeting will be the 15th, and then that will push the plan commission meeting to the 22nd. So the plan commission meeting will have a little kind of flip flop.
Rescheduled from the 15th to the
Yeah.
22nd.
Yeah. So it'll be mostly the plan commission that's gonna have the flip flop.
Mhm.
Not the town board, since we moved ours to the second Tuesday, that's sort of helped us out, but.
So you're busy now through middle of April?
That's all I had about calendar stuff, unless anyone else had any questions with calendar.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we jump to item 12.
All right, so then if you go to the page after that April calendar. The Park and Land Dedication Ordinance, which is chapter 11.35. This is our ordinance that talks about our fee that we charge in lieu of dedicating land. Okay. So if you turn the page to page 1 where it's got Murphy Dozen. Okay. So in 2022, this is when we started to sort of look at this impact fee. And we can either read this together, you guys could just read it, but basically this is from Larry Beckler was our attorney, he's a longtime attorney. We now got,
Bill.
yes, Bill. So basically this will explain that it was gutted. So today's park fee should only be imposed as impact fees.
Okay.
Requires a municipality to do a needs assessment before adopting an impact fee, including a park fee. This cannot be done by the town board or plan commission directly, but only by an outside consultant. I reviewed the town of Cottage Grove needs assessment, looks good. I know Mr. Ropers and he is a very competent planner and much more overhead than many planners. Okay, so I reached out to Mr. Mark Ruffers at the time. He was unavailable. That was obviously in 2022. I haven't reached back out to him. I think that what I think we could try to do is try and figure out, here's our ordinance. maybe we should ask Bill, what do we need to do and what can we charge? What can we charge? What can we charge a certain amount? Is there another fee that we can charge that's based on this needs assessment? Is there a certain charge that we can just, what can we charge and what's a needs assessment? Where are we with our fees?
Were you saying
That's-
before that maybe getting in touch with the town of Cottage Grove would be an okay step?
Sure, I mean,
You know,
yeah.
to do that, we could do it simultaneously, it doesn't matter, but if they've got an example of an ordinance.
I would say, well, I said that, I did say that, and then I started to kind of bite my tongue because the town of Cottage Grove is very much sort of like, they're sort of in the city of Madison, they're very, very close to the city of Madison. So they have, they have a police department, they're about our size, but they're just bigger, so they tend to have, they have more, resources at their disposal than we do, so.
Right.
So I started to say that and then I kind of sort of then backed off a little bit because, well, they might be helpful. I just wonder if we should, figure out where we are at. And I wonder if who we should ask where we're at. That's, you know,
Yeah.
before we charge a fee, I don't know where we're at because.
Or even what the fee should be, right? So that part of the
There's been-
determination.
Right, there's been legislation that we can't charge this fee
Yeah.
and we need to know where we are.
Yeah,
That's what we have to figure out.
So Mark Roffers mentioned, talking to Carp C.
And we went through that whole route
Okay.
and Carpsey said, we can't, we don't have that expertise.
Okay, all right.
We then had Carpsey come, they were gonna help us with our park plan. We did that whole route with Steve right before he left. We did that whole thing and then, they just went on.
Does Bridget have?
So then we asked Bridget when she was here and Bridget got back to me. I haven't got back to her. She's just not in that realm either. She doesn't have that sort of expertise to do that sort of needs analysis as well. So I think what we should sort of do is I would like to figure out, I think there are fees we could charge. Let's figure out what could we charge that doesn't need a needs analysis. What are the fees that we could charge? I think there are fees we could charge.
Oh.
What are they?
Okay.
Can we charge, can they be called something else?
Yeah.
What are they called? Can we just not call them this? What are we like?
That seems like Bill Morgan,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
There's a lot of
Yeah.
ideas you could use.
Yeah.
Could you tack on? Could you tack on $1 to the fees at the torque, and that $1 goes towards the park, so I know we'd like to stay in the five, keep everything at $5 or $10, but could you put $1?
this would be more like
I
a
don't
new
know.
home or something like that. I was thinking more like a new home or like how,
Yeah.
what could they be
Well,
called?
we
Like,
used to do.
yeah, let's just ask them. Is there something other than,
It's not gonna bring any money.
Yeah.
It's just nothing going on.
yeah, is there something else we could call them or like that? Because this is referring to this ordinance that we created that's part of this, that was addressed by the legislature.
Yeah.
So maybe we just need to get rid of this and do something different.
Right.
Which I think we're also gonna need, it seems to me that we're gonna need Bill. Doesn't it?
Yeah, and so I have like what Cottage Grove is, I have an example of their ordinance, which I'll pass out to everyone.
And do they charge an impact fee, thing?
They do, but they did a needs analysis,
They did.
the Cottage Grove did. But again, like I had said, it's like they use Mark Ropers, but they are, this is what their ordinance
They
is.
get.
Thank you.
I think that we can't do a needs analysis, I think we can, but I also think there might be some fees we can charge. I think there are some things we could charge without having to do it as well, so.
It does, this is a repeat from previous conversations, but it does, bring into question like the expense of prepping for impact fees versus what we might actually ever collect.
Right.
Yeah. I was thinking.
With zero growth.
I was thinking.
So they have a park impact fee and a recreational improvement impact fee.
Yeah.
Which totals about $1,500 per property in 2020. That's at the top of page 3.
And this may not be like a total inclusive of the fees that they charge. This is just, like I said. They did theirs in 2020, so
And what gave you the impression that they needed and had deeper pockets being so close to Madison?
no, only that they have a planner, they use like MSA or it's maybe not MSA. So I say they have deeper pockets only because they have a planner that's more on staff that comes to
I
their
gotcha.
meetings.
Okay,
I
I got you.
They're not like the town of Oregon where we,
Yes, don't.
Sure. So I'm not sure that they have deeper pockets, but, I would say they just have, resources. Yeah,
You know, I might,
I think they just, have to do more coordination because
They're so close to.
Yeah.
they just have.
You're right, I mean, you'd think you were in.
Oh, right.
well, I know the chair at the town of Burke. And that's
That's the kind of the same thing.
same thing as Cottage Grove or same
I
thing
mean-
as us?
No, there aren't, is Burke,
They're adjacent to them somewhere.
yeah, they're gonna be
Swap.
annexed,
Yeah.
yeah, they have an expiration date, right?
Yeah.
They're, I mean, but that would be something similar where, yeah, they're gonna be
I mean,
smaller.
I'm just trying to picture, I know Cottage Grove, well, do a lot of biking around there. I just don't know when I'm in the village of Cottage Grove or the town of Cottage Grove.
Right.
Is that area, is the township more inclusive with the village? I mean, does it look like the village or is it separate, kind of like we are from the village of Oregon?
I'm, most of those have, like, we don't have with the Village of Oregon, we don't have boundary
I got a
agreements.
flat
They
map. I
have
should go
boundary,
get it.
Sure.
they have boundary agreements with them.
And there is no town in Fitchburg, right? Any longer? It's just a city thing.
I do
Just the city as far as I
not.
know.
There's no town of Fitchburg fire anymore. That was dissolved at the same time as the town of Madison was dissolved.
I'm just trying to think of other municipalities that for a small population wise, but large geographic wise municipality, we got a lot of parks. They
We
cost
do.
money.
We have an option.
And then now we added cemeteries, the parks, all of a
Right.
sudden it's a.
We're a fairly large township,
Oh,
Geographically.
right.
yes, and population wise, we're, so like town of Rona, but they're a little less population than we are. Pleasant Springs, closer to Madison. But, so we could look at them, but we do have a lot of parks that we maintain.
Yeah.
So I think that I think this is worth pursuing in the
Yeah.
long term. I do think it's worth pursuing. I think it just takes we might have to spend some money to make some money.
Right.
Unfortunately, but it's because of the law change.
But everyone in the state is. I mean, there may be many other models out there of how we are trying to address this.
Yes. Yeah.
Our ideas from how to get ready.
And if, is anyone going to, you said you're gonna go to the Dane County Towns Association
It's
meeting?
gonna connect.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Anyone going in person? The only other thing would be is somebody reaching out to someone at the town of
Towns
Cottage Grove?
Association.
Yeah,
Or just at the association,
Yeah.
just going into their offices.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
bet they might have some,
That would be,
yeah, because they seem to touch on everything.
yes,
that
they do.
comes up. We might have some resources.
This fall, the winter, spring meetings coming up. I didn't go through that enough, but are they touching on that either in the Deer Valley?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that cover about board. But,
Yeah.
board of review training.
Yes.
So I guess we
Other
could
things they do
ask.
touch on.
Yeah.
Tim, would you wanna
Yeah, I
try to
can,
wrangle this?
sure.
Yeah, and then, let us know if you need.
I'll just start with the Towns Association and see if they're aware, are others asking for some support around this issue, considering the law change?
Yeah.
And, or do they have a go-to to help us through the,
Somebody knows something.
Yeah.
So they often will have some rules.
Yeah, right.
Best kinds of solutions.
yeah, I'll put a call into them and see,
Okay.
it'll get us started. Can we just put that on the agenda
Yep.
for
Yep.
update?
Okay, anything else on 12A? Sounds like not for tonight. 12B is Lake Harriet Cemetery.
So again, Dave Frankston had asked last month about an update on the Lake Harriet Cemetery return review, and he keeps asking me about it. I have still not heard anything back from Bill, so I didn't know if,
We were gonna have a call with him.
Yeah.
I think it might be on me. I don't remember where I left off. We were gonna have a call with him early January, which maybe it still is. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Mid. Fuzzy man. Let me get back to him. And Jennifer, was it just the two of us?
do we?
remember. Let me go back.
I
There were
think
emails. Let me go
what-
back.
And maybe it would be just as fine. I know, would it be, do you think, just as efficient to get Dave Frankson to be on that call so that he can just,
Probably.
get his, okay.
And he's out for a while, right? He's
Yeah.
on vacation or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll push it out a little bit until Dave comes back, but that's on me, so let me make that happen.
So maybe schedule a call with Dave and Bill. And that way we could just get it all done.
Okay, yep. Okay, I'll take that one.
What was that analysis called?
A needs analysis.
A needs analysis.
Yeah, a needs analysis. A public facility needs analysis. Public facilities needs assessment.
Say that
All
twice.
Got it.
And it looks like 12C, no, it's not. It's possible to have a primary.
Well, it's not here. We know it's true. Yes. I think I just put in there, just that, the certificate of nomination was Steve, Tim, and Carl.
Mhm.
And then, the absentee ballot for February. And then the Dane County Towns Association, agenda. If nobody's going in person, just two of you going, I could just, I could just
Like the
post
Zoom,
it.
you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
just two via Zoom. I could just post it, if, as a possible quorum.
Yeah.
And then Chris's email for the senior center, I
Oh,
just
yeah.
put on the very last page.
Yeah.
So if someone attends that
Very nice.
Wisconsin Towns Association meeting with the two of you zooming, is that enough?
No,
No.
there'd be
There's
three.
three of us,
But the two of you,
yeah.
who's the three of us?
There probably won't be, it sounds like there won't be a
I
third,
mean, I was planning to do it,
But
and
if-
you are.
so just two.
But if I decided to
It's
go,
a
for
quorum.
instance,
Then it's
is that a
definitely a
quorum?
Yeah,
Even
then-
though
We would.
you're zooming and
Oh.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, yeah, I could just, so what I usually do is I'll just I'll just doctor this up and then just put that there's gonna be a possible quorum.
Yeah.
When is it?
But,
It's
Tomorrow.
Is it
15th,
tomorrow?
it's
Tomorrow.
yeah.
I won't be there.
okay, so,
Okay.
and usually the language is like, well, it could be a quorum, but we're not taking any
Yeah,
action.
exactly.
Which we could always put on anyway, but, all these external things, we could put that always.
Yeah.
Always on. Okay, anything else, Jennifer?
No.
First. Anything else?
Well,
Anybody else?
we are going to have a meeting Thursday to start looking at the employee handbook issue.
Oh, good, okay.
But I think it's too soon to put that on an agenda, but
Yeah.
that will be something that the board will be involved in.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, I think that's really.
Once we thought we didn't have a February election.
Oh,
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We're all really gung ho for another one. And then let's not lose any absentee ballots, shall we?
Yes.
okay, anything else before we shut this down?
Did you want to do the Chris's or did you want to just
Oh,
point it out?
I go ahead, just, it's here, it's in the packet.
Yeah.
Which is very nice of her to always.
Summary.
Chris Johnson, yeah. Very
I
nice.
think we need to make sure that we have something on the agenda for any updates with regards to the fire, the Oregon fire.
And
Oh.
the little consortium.
Yes, because there's a, they're putting together that needs analysis, right? Or,
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
and
Yes.
the scope. They're working on the scope
Yeah.
right now, and I just think we need to be
We need to
tuned
keep-
in.
Maybe have a monthly update on
Yes, and so,
anything that's happening with that.
yes,
That's a good idea.
Did you
We
see
dropped
the
all the-
email about it from Kathy Hasslinger?
Yeah.
She would like to
Yeah.
have
Yes.
possibly, and she suggested, did I put it in the email and I cannot remember, she feels that that the district should pay to ensure that moving forward, that the towns are also being represented in any decisions that are being made, I guess. I'm not
Well, that's
probably saying that,
affect us budgetally.
I'm not probably saying that correctly, but like,
That's the
But-
gist of it. I
she
think.
said, she suggested a consultant be hired.
yeah,
To see if the needs of the district, towns included, are being met. The importance of the towns sticking together.
yes, yes. So I think once this is back, yes, she would like to make sure, yeah.
Was she gonna arrange like a meeting about that or?
She would, yes, like, I think that was, yes, that's what, I think,
That's-
I don't know,
okay.
like, she was leaving for Florida when I was talking to her.
Okay.
Yes,
It seemed she was taking the lead.
kind of, yes, she wanted to just make sure that we were sticking together.
That we
It's important to them because the location of the station is important to them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And would they have to move some of their residents to a new district
yeah.
because of the response time?
And that is well after understanding whether or not there should be a new station, right? I'm still stuck on that. I'm still
Yeah,
stuck
yeah.
on,
Yeah.
which is well after understanding whether or not the need for a ladder truck is there.
There's
So it
not.
is-
I mean, Glenn says there is.
Yes.
I mean, he's dead set on saying that's,
So we got a lot of-
I can
There's a lot of
paraphrase it, that, the law
dominoes
says that they
that
have to have one. And I keep on referring back to what you had informed us of at with town association meetings that, it doesn't sound like they do. And I have zero expertise on that. I'm not gonna get into that with Glenn. I know what he wants and I get it.
Sure.
He is the chief. He should go after what he wants.
Sure.
He's also a town board resident. so-
Yes, right.
A good idea. I mean, good idea to put it on the agenda. We took all the fire and EMS stuff off tonight just because it wasn't totally sure whether we have 4 people, 3 people.
There wasn't really,
whatever.
there was really nothing
much.
new.
Belleville's got a meeting tonight.
I mean, I've got to go to, I volunteered to go to a meeting. Is it next Tuesday or 2 Tuesdays? They're swearing in like 10 new bodies because there's a lot of bodies have left. Which is a compliment to Oregon because a lot of people come in and start there as trainees and when they're starting fire school. And they get hired from other departments.
Yeah,
The last thing about fire and EMS,
yes,
Brooklyn, I am not going to be at the meeting tomorrow night.
okay,
And I've let them know that,
Hmm.
and I asked Steve if he could be there, cause he's had some contact with
Mhm.
them. The only thing is very little on the agenda, the only thing that is, more important is that Mason's, review is coming up, and frankly, I don't know that I've been part of that long enough to be a valuable source of input anyway,
right,
at this point. And so I just want you to be aware that I'm not going to be at that meeting tomorrow night.
Yep.
And they already know that. I told them I would let people know in case someone is going to take my place.
okay,
Okay.
that's fine, yep. Sounds good. All right. Anything else? All right, then without objection, we are adjourned.
They did get a new ambulance